Well, alrighty, folks. Welcome. Welcome to the video. This is the end of summer. Sadly, it is. What's today? Today's August 14th. Me and Tim here are both heading back to school here in this weekend actually. So, figure what better way to kind of recap all the summer's adventures than just sit around a campfire and talk about it.
That's right.
We didn't want to go like to the river, but the way our schedules worked up, we kind of just ended up in my backyard, which isn't as cool as a background as the river, but
Not quite as sightly.
The fire adds a nice aesthetic.
But we're here.
Yeah, so I'm Aaron. I run Mule Outdoors obviously, and this is my buddy Tim. We do mostly all of our fishing adventures together. So he's basically the co-owner of Mule Outdoors at this point. So if you're new, welcome. I'm glad you're here. But this is just gonna be a whole video of us kind of like sitting around talking like conversation style, but just walking through a whole summer of us fishing the Ozarks. We had some pretty awesome adventures. So we're gonna kind of walk you guys through them and kind of in that splice together some of our videos and kind of what happened, what we learned, what we did wrong, and all the fish we caught. So so let's hop into it. So first big adventure of the year. You want to tell them what it was, Tim?
The Current River.
One and only.
About peak season of the cicada hatch in mid-May the 16th.
Yeah.
We figured cicadas would be our main deal the whole day.
Well, kind of. Like we didn't really expect. I mean, I expected it. I didn't expect it to be how good it was going to be going.
Yeah, it was our first time really hitting the cicada hatch for the first time in our whole lives. We knew it was a big deal, but
we're like, I don't know. We'll bring. I mean, we started off just throwing streamers like we normally do.
That's right. Just a normal
Springtime,
day.
Being our streamer junkies as we found out last year.
Yeah, we were throwing some silver and white streamers, some olives, had some rain butts.
So that's when you had the fish and you were just like shaking it, talking to the camera, wasn't it?
Yeah, shaking it like a dead stick.
Yeah. That was funny. And we probably fished streamers until it was probably about noon, wasn't it?
Yeah, about noon. When the sun came out about noon or so, so we heard that buzz just amplifying over time, and we knew something was about to go down.
Yeah, so we were pretty far down river. We were way down past Ashley Creek. That's kind of our starting point for the day. Hike down to Ashley, and then go from there. Kind of gets you away from a lot of the crowds on the current, which is helpful. I think the sprinklers had a nice aesthetic too. Sorry. Anyways, so we kind of, once we got our ways down past Ashley, it was kind of lunch, sat down, had a snack, and I think I had broken off. I'm like, I'll tie on a cicada, and like in the first couple casts, fish just started like whamming them. It was crazy how aggressive these fish were for the cicadas.
I'd never seen anything like it in Missouri.
No. It's just like,
Unreal.
I think they just have to have so many calories. Like the meal is just so calorie rich.
It's a dense bug.
Yeah. So the fish, that sprinkler was really loud. Wow. Yeah. So they were just going crazy. So, we caught a couple small ones. We got down to this big bluff wall. I don't know if any of y'all have ever floated the current or been like farther down. It's our first time there. We're just like, it looks like there's got to be
First time that far down.
Yeah, that far down. We're like, there's got to be something there. And I hooked up first. I like catched it like pretty much plumb against the bluff, and you just heard big old brown. Tim had to play like counselor when I was fighting that one. That was pretty funny.
They get you amped up, folks. You gotta
so we were like
stay
freaking
relaxed.
out, but that was awesome. That was my PB Brown by quite a bit. Not quite a bit, by a fair amount. Awesome on the cicada. We were like high on life, and then like not 10 minutes later, Tim hooks up to a fish of the same caliber, just big, meaty Current River Browns. Remember how fat that fish was?
Fat as can be. I missed him at first, actually.
I forgot about that.
At first, he swirled around me and ate my bug, and I just missed him, or he kind of missed it, didn't eat it too well. I cast right there, the next cast, the second after, and he just goes after it, and I knew it was on. I had 2X on, so I was horsing that fish. That's kind of a bad habit of mine.
Yes.
And Aaron was just like, Tim, don't horse him. I'm thinking, oh, I'm fine,
Well,
Aaron.
and then I botched the net job too.
That happens on those big jobs, yeah. But I was horsing him. Aaron was telling me, no, it's a big fish, Tim. Slow down. I'm like, it's fine. He nets him. It's just a tank. fatty butterball. Did not expect it to be that
We were like,
huge.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty special day, especially to catch those two caliber of fish that far apart.
What a cool spot. It couldn't have been a better spot
on the
to
bluff
catch them.
on the current. So we were so high on life.
Yeah, nobody else around us, just a picturesque spot there in the current.
And then, I mean, went on after that to have quite a day. I mean, we probably caught, I don't know, 5 or 6 more fish each. And just like quality fish.
Oh, yeah.
They were all quality on the cicadas. Just
and
smacking it.
Every eat was just perfect. I mean, you don't get that type of dry fly action in Missouri
Not too often
at all.
We don't get too many salmon flies here in Missouri, so
not too often. No.
That was pretty special. And then the day was going great. It was a great day until I walked up to this run. I cast it down and I had set my streamer rod against my camera. And then I caught a really nice brown. Turn around, streamer rod is gone.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found. That put quite the damper on the day.
What was your inspiration to have that idea of leaning your rod against your camera tripod, Aaron? Whose idea was that?
It's a good spot to leave it.
Whose idea was that, though?
It was mine.
No, it was mine.
I don't know. I set it up wrong because it's not a bad idea in principle.
But you learned it from who? What gentleman?
I'm not going to name the gentleman that I learned it from. I don't think I learned it from him. I just adapted it, I'd say.
Okay.
But obviously I adapted it wrong. So yeah, brand new streamer rod floated down the river. So that was rather unfortunate. Other than that, I had a great day. That fish I caught after the streamer rod, it was probably like a 16-inch rainbow. I was just like not having it. I was like, okay, that's cool, guys. Just go home now. It was like a fat butterball of rainbow on a cicada. So I made that long cast to it.
Uh-huh.
And then,
I thought you were dead when you were looking for the rod. I didn't hear you. I had no clue you were looking for it out of sight.
Oh, yeah, because my camera was still there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember about that.
I was very worried for Aaron. I mean, I was freaking out, folks. I was...
It would have been all right. You
Anyway.
just found me in Arkansas or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what was next on the list? So next was the old Calloway Creek, one of Tim's favorite spots.
Man, I'm not saying it's terrible, but
Yeah.
we had some tough luck there.
Yeah, we had a tough day. So we went pretty much, it was early June, so I mean not too long. The cicadas were still in full swing.
Yep.
And we were going after some smallies, thinking like we were going to just lay
Crush
into
'em.
them. And we didn't. I caught one on the cicada, which was cool. Did you catch any smallies that day?
I missed one.
You missed one on the
Missed a smallie
cicada?
on the cicada.
Yep. But it was weird. I mean, it was a cool little creek. It was fun,
was.
and it was a nice little wade in the summertime. But
We'll have to go back and
For
learn
sure.
from our
yeah,
mistakes.
but that smallie on the cicada, that was pretty fun. It was just weird. We thought we would like lay into them, but we just had one. And we thought, kind of off, like we were coming off the current, like hot. We're like, okay, the fish are going to be kind of insane. And then it was just like, meh. But that smallie was fun. It was a long day.
Yeah, I think we learned a bit there. I mean, our goal this summer was to land to smallies and really figure them out on the fly this year.
Yeah.
Which didn't happen until later in the summer, which is fine, but you learn as you go, and that was a big learning experience.
So what after that we had? Okay, so I was at Mule Creek with just with my dad. Tim was not there, so we were going down to Lake of the Ozarks for a trap shooting competition, and actually we're taking our friend's camper bus, which is super cool. We kind of fit in at Mule Creek,
That's right.
But I took my dad. He's fly fished some, but he kind of hasn't been into it for a while, since he was my age. So I was taking him like, Dad, let's go get him. He's like, okay, I'll go with you. So we're in Mule Creek and still full swing of the cicadas. And I don't know if everyone has been to Mule Creek where you kind of access, there's a big concrete bridge right there. So, Dad starts right there. He probably missed like 3 or 4 fish just at the bridge, like right off the bat. And I'm like, I just want my dad to catch a fish so bad. And he's like, oh, dang it, hit it again. And then so then we went up the stream. I caught a nice one. I mean, for Mule Creek, it's a nice one. It was probably 8-inch fish, but it was a nice fish for Mule Creek. I was like freaking out. So that was really fun. And then we keep going upstream. My dad misses some more. He had a couple pop off. There's a dub right there. He had a couple pop off. And we're just kind of going along. It's getting late. We come up to the last hole. And in Mule Creek, if you've been there, it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like you're kind of going straight and then it makes that left turn kind of at the road, like that right angle kind of. And there's a big hole right there. So last hole of the day, my dad whips the cicada in there, and it was like a massive fish for Mule Creek, probably like 15 inches. Just comes up, slurps the cicada. My dad hooks him. I don't think he got a very good hook set in him. He hooks him, immediately takes him to the reel, and just pops off.
He broke off, or?
He just popped off.
Ah.
So I was like devastated. I was like on my knees because like, I mean, for Mule Creek, that's just such a quality fish. My dad was like, "Oh dang it, you know." It's like, Dad, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. The fish I catch are a quarter of that size in this creek. So that was fun. He never actually landed the fish, which sucked. But that was fun, just like 2-3 hour outing. So yeah, still on the Cicadas here. Our next stop was Spring Creek, which is not too far down the road from Mule Creek. You want to tell them about Spring Creek Day?
Yeah, Spring's a good spot. It can be tough. There's a lot of sizable fish there you can key in on, though. If you fish well, which we found out. Still, cicadas were going crazy toward the tail end of it, but they're still.
It was weird. Like we didn't see any all day.
Yep,
they were still pretty clearly keying in on them.
Weren't too heavy, but they were hungry for them, and they were still eating them. Clearly, Aaron caught the first fish of the day. It was nice, good sized Spring Creek fish. And then, all of a sudden, as I'm fishing below him, I just hear Aaron freaking out. He's got a huge fish on in this big, good run on Spring, and this fish is just taking him to spots and diving in the brush and jumping 2 feet in the air and going crazy. I net him for him, and this fish is
it was a dandy.
It's a quality fish for a small Spring Creek in Missouri. That's about as big as they'll get.
Yeah, it was
for wild trout.
As my buddy would say, it's a cheeky two-hander.
Cheeky two-hander, indeed.
Snuck the fingers there and on the tail. Yeah, that was an awesome fish.
That was a good fish.
I mean, just for that size fish to come out of such a small creek. I mean, in Missouri, which is like they just don't get that big, and not in the rivers. Like just in the Spring Creek, they don't get that big.
That's compared to a current river wild rainbow, that's
right.
A good sized fish on the current.
That'd be a nice fish on the current, yeah. But for that to happen on Spring Creek, that's pretty cool. And for that not to be the only fish of the day too.
Yeah, there's a lot of those fish in that river, and
we
ran into a couple of those types of fish though throughout the day.
So yeah, after that I kind of I probably caught those 2 fish by like 9:30, 10 or something like that. Like, okay, great. So then Tim kept, and then that was pretty close to the access. I mean, kind of, we weren't nearly to that big bluff yet. Like, weren't even close.
No.
So then Tim kept going up. Tim, he had the wrong size cicada on.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it was too buggy and too big.
It's a little too big.
Just missing and missing.
Oh, so he probably missed 7 or 8 fish.
I should have changed that for the first. I mean, after the first or second fish, I should have immediately changed flies. But I was just adamant about catching one on this specific cicada fly, which was pretty ignorant of me and stupid. But I learned after that. I think also one of the reasons was because I was just setting the hook too soon, which is a fatal mistake on the dry flies. You have to just
God save the queen.
Wait for them to come down with that fly in their mouths before you trout set.
That was tough.
Which I've learned over the years, but I haven't fully learned yet, I guess.
That was tough. I felt bad for you. Just kept working
out. Man, it just shows the quality fish are there at Spring Creek, man.
They're in there.
They're abundant.
It's a hard, and I was thinking, like, honestly, I don't know how you'd fish it well, not with cicadas, It
is a tough fishery.
Because, like, it's not like big enough to throw streamers in. Like, it can be, but it's tough. It's tough to nymph, especially for big fish. I mean, Justin caught a nice one on a nymph.
Yeah, I'll just say.
But let's go in the cicada hatch in 37 years, I guess. But that's
buggier stoneflies, nymphs.
Yeah. But then going back downstream, you lost that nice smallie, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was flinging the cicada under this tree. I knew there was fish in there. All of a sudden, I see this big football smallie just coming from the depths. And I get all amped up and excited, rip my freaking cicada right out of his jaw. I just saw it in slow motion. I knew I had screwed up big time. And this was just a quality smallie, which I was hungry for.
Yeah.
Hungry for. And I just knew I ruined it. So, it's not far from the Big Piney River, just downstream. It feeds into the Spring Creek feeds into the Big Piney, so we knew could be some good smallies in there. But for a big smallie like that to be in a small creek, was pretty neat. Would have been awesome to
That would have been cool.
link up with them, but
Yeah. And then it wasn't my favorite part of the day. It was just a pretty funny moment of the day. Not as funny for Tim as for me. But I like the last run of the day. We were going to a concert that night. Tim was fishing it. It looked so good and just nothing. I'm like, Tim, there's no way there's not a fish in there. Let me see that rod real quick. With the old wham bam. Whew, this fish just comes roaring out of the, like in the foam. Just boom. Like, it was one of those moments where like you kind of feel bad, but not really, you know. Anyway.
I laughed it out. It was a good fish.
You did let you laughed it
give
out
it to
well.
him.
It was a good fish, but yeah, that was it. It wasn't as fun as the current, but it was almost cooler in a way, because like
yeah, it's a hidden gem for sure.
Like there's that big a fish in the current. I mean, obviously 20, 8 inchers come out of there or whatever. So like those browns we caught were super nice. They're not common. They're not unheard of though, you know. Like, at least for us, like, you know, we've heard good things about Spring Creek, but to see a blue ribbon rainbow, especially because like they don't really stock those creeks at all. The Department of Conservation doesn't. Like, I know the 11 point and the current they stock super heavily. The 11 point they stock pretty well. But I'm pretty sure they don't stock any of the blue ribbon ones, like the Raleigh circuit, the Little Piney, the Mill, or Spring Creek. So that was pretty cool to see, just how quality of like stream bred fish there can be.
And I would say that stream of the blue ribbon circuit, or the Raleigh circuit rather, is less fished and less heard of and less popular.
For sure. Well, it's a
tougher fishery, but man, if you can figure them out, just have patience, that's one of the better ones, I would say.
Yeah. I think I took my buddy Justin like 3 or 4 times there to catch fish. Took me 2 times. Took Tim 1 time, twice, I guess. But for sure cool, and also for sure solitude too.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's hard to find that nowadays on the Little Piney. In the current, gosh, that smoke is a little brutal. But yeah, it was pretty cool. That was fun. And then we got to see Oliver Anthony that night, so that was
Oliver
quite
Anthony.
That was quite the Ozark day.
He's the real deal.
Anyways, next, then we had a pretty big hiatus for a while.
Yeah.
It was like a month. I mean, I was on vacation. Tim was working and kind of moving around. I think
moving around.
The next trip we had, well, I had was on the White River after that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I went down to the White River with my buddy Marcus. Yeah, we did that trip last year and did it again this year. Tim wasn't there, but it was fun. It was cool for sure. I don't really know how to describe it. I mean, the White is just unreal. If you haven't gone, you have to go. We found this Airbnb, which is pretty awesome. It's my guy Tim. Pretty funny. So Tim, my buddy Tim's named Tim. My dad is named Tim. Now our fishing guide was also named Tim. So there's a lot of Tims in circulation. But yeah, this guy that owned the Airbnb my buddy Marcus and I were staying in just took us out free of charge, which was pretty cool, on his boat. So we were fly fishing, caught a lot of fish. A lot of, just stocker rainbows and little browns, and actually a couple of cutthroats, which is pretty cool. But it was tough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we caught 30 fish each, just nymphing. I think I was throwing a dry dropper that night, which was cool. And then that next morning, they were releasing so little water. That's part of it. It was so tough. It was just like pretty much minimum flow. If you know anything about the White, it's a tailwater, and it just, the pressure or the fishing all depends on how much water they're releasing. So since they were releasing so little water, it was tough. But we actually waited at Wildcat Shoals, and then we also had a really good day there, or good morning at least. I mean, just nymphing was just pretty much automatic with stoneflies and perdigons, midges. So I wouldn't say that's a highlight, but that was a really fun trip. The Whites, it was just weird. I hooked into like pretty much no quality fish, which was a little disappointing. Kind of like the smoke direction. Yeah, the White, if you haven't gone, like I said, it's a cool place. It's unique for sure. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of fishermen. There's a lot of guides. There's a lot of power bait,
Yes.
but it's a cool spot nonetheless, and I'm glad I got to go on that. So after the white, we had the mighty 11 point.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite the trip. So, buddy Tim, my dad also Tim, went down there. It was a Saturday afternoon. I had to work Saturday morning. I went down Saturday afternoon. Gosh, why did this wind switch all of a sudden? So went down Saturday afternoon. Got the shuttle to the 11 point, Southern Missouri. Got the shuttle through old Richard's canoe rental on the river there. Went hiked down and saw the spring, Greer Spring. That's super cool, just in of itself. Just that there's that much water coming out of the ground.
If you're there, you have to check it out. It's unlike any other spring. It's just so tight. Quarters of a spring. It's not like a wide, slow spring. It's a tight, even white water style waterway.
Yeah.
Second biggest spring in the state of Missouri.
Yeah,
It's very worthwhile hiking down to and checking out.
for sure. Watch out for copperheads though,
Yes.
and pawpaw trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did that. Went down. We camped at Turner's Mill that night. Which is so it's funny. So last year, me and Tim did this float. About the same time, we went down on a Sunday night. So there was like nobody there. We're like, dude, this is the best campsite ever.
Mm-hmm.
This year we went down on a Saturday night, and all of the all the locals were out. It was
Local beauties.
the local beauties.
We should say.
The our good friends at the campsite next to us had a generator running the entire night.
Every second of the night.
It was kind of like a white noise machine, but also like kind of not. It was pretty loud.
It wasn't treating me too
It
well.
wasn't treating Tim too well. But that was fine. Got up that morning. And then as we were driving up, the shuttle driver was talking to us because we were gonna put in at Greer Spring, the bridge, Highway 19 bridge right there, then float down in Turner's like we did last year, which is just the trout water. But the shuttle driver's talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, the guy's been killing the smallmouth above the spring. I'm not sure what the access above there is called." We're like, "You just want to put us in there?" And he's like, "Sure." So we put him at the access above the spring. I don't know what it's called, just a gravel bar, which is. So literally, it's the river is super small. I mean, it's 20 feet wide. It's basically a creek. It felt like Calloway or something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty small river until the spring comes in, because obviously the spring is massive. But up there, we killed the smallmouth and goggle eye, which is super fun. So that was about 2 miles of water. Oh, sorry. And then we came down, and then we met the spring. You want to talk about the spring a little bit?
And we were anxious to get down to the spring because we had plenty of action above the spring, but it was all mainly smaller fish, smaller smallies and goggle eyes. So we were like, let's not waste any more time and let's just charge right to the spring. So we did. And your dad beat us to it.
He beat us to there, yeah.
And before we came around the bend and hit the spring, we heard him fighting a pretty sizable fish. So we were stoked for him, nonetheless. But we were like, shoot, we got to get down here. So we pulled up to the gravel bar, ran over toward him. He netted the fish. It was an awesome fish. We're stoked for Mr. Muleheisen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that spring comes in. It's just unreal. It about doubles the size of the river there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty rare to see.
It's a cool spot.
And it just creates a amazing fishery right there. You have a lot of smallmouth using that edge of the spring water and the warm water.
Yep.
And you'll find them on the very edges of that.
Dad
obviously
found
the
that
trout in the spring water, but you can really just hang out there for a couple hours, even a few hours, and have yourself a day.
I mean, we didn't leave the spring until noon.
Yes.
We were there until
even
noon.
later.
We still had to float like 6 miles down to Turner's.
It was a good day. But that spring is unreal.
I mean, what'd you hook and do at the spring?
So, they're hitting the trout. I was throwing a craw for a while, struggling on the trout game. This whole summer I've been wanting to just nail smallmouth and maybe get away from the trout even, dare I say. So I picked up the streamer rod, the 7-weight. Had the silver, blue, and black streamer that I've been crushing fish on for a couple of years now. And I was just chucking it in there. A couple casts, a follow or two maybe. And all of a sudden I get a good cast right in the middle of that spring water. Strip it a few times, all of a sudden I hear this, or I see this big, dark brown backed football looking smallie just attacks my streamer. Good strip set into him. I knew I had him pinned. Hard fighting smallmouth, and I was one of the biggest, or the biggest smallie I've caught in Missouri for sure.
Yeah,
And
it was a cool fish.
I mean, it got my heart pumping for sure.
And to catch it in a spot like that, it's pretty cool.
That was very special. Yeah, I've been wanting to get smallies on the streaming rod for a while, and that was a good start to it. I mean, no better spot than right there to kick it off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then after that, it was weird. It was really slow. I mean, I think I hooked into one trout. Dad hooked into like 20 baby smallmouth right there at the spring.
yeah, he was killing them
Yeah, Dad was just,
on the pats, rubber.
yeah, he
legs.
was just kicking our butts on the stonefly, which I was really happy for him. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? You haven't caught any fish like anytime I've been fishing with you. Anyways, that
And all of
was
a
pretty
sudden he
funny.
catches 20
Yeah.
in the same spot. Never moves his feet.
So
Pretty
yeah, we
impressive.
footed down from there, footed down to the Highway 19 bridge. He hooked into like 2 more nice trout right there. My
Uh-huh.
dad did. I'm gonna keep moving down, and it got really slow. You know, we fishing Pat's rubber legs, big stone flies, pretty much what we've had luck on. Just not much was going on. I think my dad caught 1 or 2 more fish maybe. You didn't have any action really on the streamer at all, did you?
No, I think it was just too late in the day, and they were acting lethargic and lazy.
It was just
for me,
it
so
was so hot.
wasn't the smartest of fishing the streamer all day, but you know that's my style. I just kind of risk it.
The streamer
Risk it,
junkie
you
had
know?
to do it, so. But yeah, like really no fish for a noticeable amount of time. And we got like way down. Dad hooked into some smallies. He lost a nice smallie.
Oh,
And then finally I got to this one run, and I hooked into 2 or 3 rainbows, which is nice. But overall, pretty, I mean, don't get me wrong, awesome day on the 11 point. Like, so fun. Just fishing was a little slow, which happens sometimes. I mean, just dead heat of summer. Because last year when we went, it just rained, so it had cooled off
that's right.
noticeably, which was nice.
Yep, I think we learned this trip to camp out at the gravel bar above the spring so we can
Yeah.
get a good start
Because
in the
I
morning.
mean, really, the morning's the most important, like the bite window, and we were fishing like above the spring, really, in the good bite window. So, I think we definitely learned that for next time.
Or even camp out at the spring.
I think that's the move next year. Actually,
cool
we
idea.
were talking about that.
So
That'd be better white noise than the generator.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think we learned a lot that trip. I mean,
And-
not saying we didn't have a successful trip, but
Right.
definitely learn for next time, and that's what it's all about. Just learning for future and
Well, then it's a freaking
enjoying
cool
it
river too.
as is. Oh yeah, it's just I mean, one of the best rivers in Missouri for sure.
Yeah,
As,
it's-
as far as scenic, good fishing, remote.
and wild too.
Oh yeah, wild and scenic. Sorry,
It's designated as a wild and scenic national. It's a national river.
that's right.
So, I don't know how many there are. There's probably 10 or 15.
In the
Maybe
U.S.
more than that, yeah. Look it up actually. But it's just kind of, it's a cool spot.
Glad to have it.
The government recognizes it's such a cool river.
Yeah.
National Wild and Scenic River System protects 227 rivers.
Oops.
Oops, so there's a lot more.
Screw the government. Never mind.
Oh wait, no, 81 rivers. That's not many. So, anyways, nonetheless, really cool river, and glad we got to do it. For sure, a yearly trip we got to do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, that's our summer of fly fishing. It was, I mean, 6 or 8 adventures on there. Pretty good for 2 guys who were working, I'd say. Yeah, what are your, I guess starting off, what would you say was your best moment of the summer?
Best moment. Well, it's been an honor sharing it with you. I gotta
That's right.
say, it's good having a good buddy on the river. Can't beat it. Memories just last a long time that way. The best fishing moment, I gotta say, was, well, I think trout and smallies deserve their own categories. Dare I say?
The problem is we only have 1 entry for the smallmouth category.
Anyway, I'll say trout. The 2 best moments, I'll say 2, if that's allowed.
Just do the whole summer, why not?
the butterball brown on the current,
Yeah.
on the Cicada, against the bluff wall.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. It's just an unreal experience right there.
Yeah. I got to agree with you.
I got to shout out to that Mr. Smalley on the 11 point.
Yeah.
In the spring water, on the edge of the spring water and the warm water. Just stripping that streamer. Seeing him just crunch it and getting that beautiful strip set was a cool experience. I'd never really hooked into a good smallie like that in the fly, so
that was cool.
a special moment too.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to agree. The current, just the cicadas, you can't. That was just a day we'll never forget. And just the fact we both caught those fish on that bluff wall.
Oh yeah.
That was really fun. Really cool. And honestly, the day at Spring Creek too, for me was just insane.
For you, yes.
Yeah. So like I said, I think this is my 4th time at Spring Creek now. I've caught 2 fish before, and they've been like this big. And so to catch some, that's pretty big actually. They're like that big. So to catch some I think I caught 4 just really quality fish. And the one I got to see, the one looked like one of those slow-mo videos. Like I saw it come up.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was the one that I missed when you were standing right there. We both saw it come up for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you see it come up and turn.
Oh.
And then
I can envision just those fish coming up and getting inside and just gosh, you have to be patient, man.
Yeah, it was like nothing. It was honestly like nothing I've ever seen before. Especially on the current, just how aggressive they were for the cicadas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one.
They were just mad.
The one where I lost my rod, I set it down and turned around, and that nice brown just came up. So, yeah, for sure. What would you say is the biggest thing that we learned this summer?
That's a good question. We have to pause and reflect.
Oh,
Shoot.
I mean, that we've been on cicadas this whole video just to hammer it home. The cicadas were just insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
unreal.
37 years from now, I know what I'm going to be doing.
Well, 13.
It's 13?
Yes.
Well, I think it's like one of the broods is in 13 years. But 37 is the year, there's 2 or 3 broods that.
Okay.
Something
Well,
like
13
that.
will be back at it as well.
The next time there's a big cicada hatch, we know what we'll be doing.
Yes.
That was insane. And then just how different water can be. I don't know how to say this. How different it can be when you hit it at different times of the year, but if you fish it right versus wrong. Spring is a good example. We've had really tough luck there. But as soon as we get one good day like that, big fish start coming out.
Don't judge a spot by the results at the first.
But also, the 11 point too. Last year, we just destroyed them.
Yeah.
Pretty much all day. And this year, once we got past the spring, it was pretty dead.
If you're not catching them well, it's a decent spot. It's usually the user's fault.
User error, yes.
Figured out.
Yes, that's why you use smaller tippet. What about you? What do you think?
Man, it's been a cool summer. I've had many failures as well as successes, so it's been a good time to learn new stuff fishing wise and just learn life lessons as well, I'd say. I think it's a good reminder just to stay humble and not think you're going to crush them every time.
For sure.
As we figured out. I think just learning to enjoy the moments and not get wrapped up in we missed him here and did something wrong here. But just learning to slow down and enjoy the moments because summer is a short window and you gotta enjoy it the best you can while it's here. So I think that's the biggest lesson this summer.
Yep. Slow down. That's all it is.
That's right. Moments by the Red Clay Strays.
Anyways, folks, I think that about does it. I head out, and they both head out in about 3 or 4 days here, so back to our respective ends of the country. Tim's going out west in Colorado, and I'm headed out east to North Carolina. So, yeah, brother, it's been a pretty good summer.
It has.
Hopefully y'all enjoyed has been a pleasure. Hope y'all enjoyed the stories and the fishing and just it's just fun night, just conversation, we're just telling campfire stories. So.
That's right. That's all it is.
Yeah. So yeah, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed tagging along. It was quite the summer, like I said. Any things you want to send the folks off with?
But I already said it here.
That's right. Tim already said it. No, we
That's a mic drop, I think.
we cut out what Tim said. But really thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for tagging along with the summer. And see you all in the next one.
See ya.